With that being said, I want to talk about Pope Francis. All right. Now, listen, what I'm about to say, take it in the context of here's a guy who just apologized for using a gay slur, right? And in the same interview that I'm talking about, when pressed about female ordination, said absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. So used a gay slur, apologized for it. I'm grateful that he apologized for it, and has said absolutely not to female ordination. Even went so far, I believe he said, well, they're already, in many cases, they're already acting as deacons, and that should be enough. They should be happy with that. So, his progressiveness knows its limits, or maybe doesn't know its limits, but it has its limits. His progressiveness has its limits. And so anyway, he was interviewed a couple of weeks ago on CBS. And during the interview, he was asked about some of the pushback that he gets from conservative bishops in the U.S., some of the pushback he gets from bishops who don't like maybe how he said we should be blessing same-sex couples and couples of divorced partners, that we should be willing to bless them. How he said that the church should be a field hospital, in the world to take care of people. And as you're probably aware, there have been lots of people, lots of Roman Catholic bishops in the U.S. and in the West, I think, in general, and actually all over the world, but this person was asking in particular about American bishops, that they're not taking kindly to his message. The message, as pointed out, it ain't okay for them. And so his response, and apparently the interviewer said he was quite thoughtful in it, but his response was that, well, there's a difference between taking tradition into account and being closed up inside a dogmatic box. So whereas he used, I think he used the term conservative bishops. It's not conservative. That to me, that's not what conservatism means. What they're talking about are people who they're more than conservative. Right? They're people who, we are not going to change this, not ever. As a matter of fact, sometimes people like this will romanticize the way things used to be and desire a return to those days because those days were so much greater and better and more awesome, despite the fact that those days never actually existed. He keeps, what does he say? Listen, clinging to something and not wanting to see beyond that. Clinging to something and not wanting to see beyond that. Clinging to this one idea, clinging to this ideal, clinging to this value, clinging to this tradition, clinging to this liturgical understanding, clinging to whatever, really, and not wanting to see that there are opportunities beyond that, not wanting to see that there's a world outside of this, not wanting to see that there are opportunities and possibilities abounding apart from this understanding. He called it it is a suicidal attitude. It's a suicidal attitude. Now, part of my thing as a priest has been something called missional church. Now, missional church, the theories of missional church, it involves two things. Really, the first is attractional church. Attractional church is what we do on Sunday mornings. That's attractional church. We invite people to come to our building to be a part of the services that we have. That's attractional. We're looking to help people gravitate, right? We're trying to create a gravity about that attracts people into our building, into our building, into our worship, into our liturgy, into our faith. And then there's the missional church. And the missional church, I bet you can figure, given how all the different talks that I've done over the years, I bet you can figure out real quick what the missional church is, but I'll tell you anyway. The missional church is when you take the gospel out. You're not trying to bring people into here. You're not trying to put butts in the pews. You're trying to take the message of the gospel out to your community. Now, one of the things that I've come to understand is that the attractional church, for all that it is and all that it was, it must change or it will die. And if I know something must change and I choose not to change it, then in essence, I am choosing suicide. And so the Pope, he's right on this. If we don't see beyond what we have, if we don't see beyond what we love and appreciate, what we love and appreciate will die. We had a meeting here last week, and a friend of mine, a gentleman from our congregation, at the end of the meeting, he just sort of offered this. It was almost a throwaway line, right? He said, when it comes to the church, people just want others to appreciate what they offer, or to appreciate what they do, to appreciate their ideals. They just want them to value what we do here. And he's right. But really what needs to happen for the church to continue to flourish, what needs to happen is that the church needs to appreciate the values and the ideals of the people outside the church. We need to understand who they are. If we don't, then all we're ever going to do is produce a product that the existing congregation will appreciate. And, the odd person on the outside, they'll appreciate it too, but not the mass. Right? Not the masses. Not those people out there who are in desperate need of hearing that they are loved and that they are cherished, that they are precious, that God has loved them so much that God was willing to sacrifice for them. Right? The power of the gospel, it's not only needed by people who appreciate how we do things. It's needed by those who will never appreciate how we do things, never appreciate our traditions, our liturgies, never appreciate the hymns we sing or the prayers we say. But the gospel is especially needed by them. Clinging to what is and failing, choosing to fail, to not see what's beyond that, is absolutely a suicidal attitude. It's the attitude of doom. Now, I know many will say, but we love the way it is. We love the way it was. We love the way that it's always been. I understand that. But change is inevitable. If you choose change, if you choose to look beyond, then you can negotiate this and that, and you can give and take in one circumstance or another. You will have a certain amount of control over the change that comes. But if you hold and you say, no, I refuse to look beyond what is, and I refuse to look beyond what was, change still comes. The only difference is you will not have any say in it. You won't have any say in it. Your ability to negotiate will be gone. Your ability to navigate will be gone. Your ability for give and take will be gone. There are many, many things. I love Pope Francis. I do. I love Pope Francis, and I love many of the things that he's doing. But, and as progressive as he is still quite conservative. There are many things for us as church to look at. many aspects of how we gather as a community and how we operate as an organization for us to look at. None of it should be exempt. None of it should be excluded from the conversation. All of it, every aspect of who we are, should be up for evaluation and consideration and experimentation. Amen.